Today in math, what we're doing is we're using the shapes that we cut out that hopefully you've been keeping in a bag, and we're using those shapes to build composite shapes. Composite shapes are when you put two or more shapes together to make something new. So I'm going to be using page 223 because it has this nice grid. It's like our box grid on it, and it's really nice to use to build other shapes. So let's get started. You can see that right here, I just went ahead and separated my shapes. I put my hexagons together, my circles. I even sorted my triangles, but I don't need those today. My triangles are sorted by triangles that have different length sides and triangles that have sides that are all the same length. I put my rectangles and squares near each other. And my parts of a circle, which I haven't talked to you guys about, but all these little parts that we cut out are just parts of a circle. So they're not actually one of the shapes that we've described by attributes because they're fourths of a circle, or we even call those quarters. The reason we talked about quarters a little bit before we left school when we were talking about a clock. The reason we use quarters when we split something into 4 equal parts is because if you think of our money, a quarter, if we have 4 of those, we have $1. And so we use the word quarters a lot. We use it for clocks, we use it for anything that we split into 4 equal parts, and we use it for money. Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our blue and our red rectangles. I would like you to go ahead and put the long side of your rectangles together and use any part of your little box grid to create a composite shape. Now, what kind of shape did I make? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. And if I check my corners, I can even use another shape too. I can see that the sides line up perfectly. These are square corners. So I made another rectangle. I know that it's not the special kind of rectangle that's a square because I can tell that since this side takes up 1, 2, 3 boxes right there, if I'm looking at my box grid, and these sides take up 1, 2 boxes, that this side, I could actually say that this side is 3 boxes long and this side is only 2. So the sides are not the same length, which means it can't be a square because squares are rectangles, but this isn't the special kind of rectangle, a square, because its sides are not equal. Now I can go ahead, and if I want to make this an even bigger rectangle, I could just have fun with shapes. So what happens if I put the green rectangle at the bottom and the yellow rectangle at the top? I've made a longer rectangle. I can even try to put it together in different ways. There we go, still have a longer one. I could even try to add a square. If I add a square right here, I see that this new composite shape I made is still just a longer rectangle. And look how much longer I made these sides now. If I were to count the boxes on these sides, I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes long. And on this side, it's still only 2 boxes long. Have fun building different shapes using your squares and rectangles. Try putting squares together. If I put 4 smaller squares together, and these are squares because the sides are all equal, and there's square corners, and there's 4 sides, I can just make, look, a bigger square. And I know the square has equal sides because if I look at the box grid I'm using, these are 2 boxes long, 2 boxes long, 2 boxes long, 2 boxes long. I can try to put another square with my little orange squares, and now the new composite shape that I made is no longer a square, it's a rectangle again. because look, this side is much longer than this side. This side is 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes long, and this side is only 2. Let's see, let's try to use our green rectangle with 2 squares. Now you can see, well, what shape did I make now? Now I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. Are the sides the same? This side is 2 boxes long. This side is 2 boxes long. The sides are all the same. I just made a bigger square. So for this lesson, what you're going to do is you're just going to have fun making composite shapes using your rectangles and squares. Then you're going to flip your paper over and you're going to use the same shapes in order to do the 3 different questions that they say on this page. And I like to color these just to make sure that people can really tell what shape I used. So if I decide to build a square using rectangles, what I do is I go ahead and I take my shapes and then I trace them like that. Oops, trying to hold it while I trace it. And then I put my yellow one down that I had and I trace that shape. And then I can go ahead and use either my markers or my crowns and I can color them just the way they were. So this rectangle I would color yellow to show that's the yellow rectangle I used. And then this rectangle I would color green, like that. And you don't even have to use the same shapes as I do. All you have to do is make sure that you are following the directions they give. So it has to be a square with equal sides and you have to use rectangles. Any kind of rectangle combination you want. And then this one is actually a triangle. I didn't know we were using triangles. This one I'm going to show you really quickly because it says build a rectangle with all sides the same length. So they want a square. And they said use triangles with a square corner. So let me see if these will work. So here are triangles. I have to use this triangle because it has a square corner. So if you look, this corner right here is square. This one's not and this one's not, but it just needs one. Now if I do that, it looks like a kite. Well, that's not what I want. But if I flip it like that, that's a rectangle, but the sides aren't the same length. Let me try another one. Let's see, these have a square corner. Let me double check. Yeah, this yellow one has a square corner and this red one has a square corner. If I put it like this, look, it's just a square that's turned, but if I turn it, you can see that it's actually a square. And so I had to do that by putting the long sides of the triangle together. So flip the shapes around. Flipping is like this. Turn them in order to create the composite shape that you want, but make sure that you're reading the directions. This one was important. A rectangle with all sides the same length. They were really asking for a square. And I had to use triangles that had a square corner. So have fun with this. If you have any questions, you can ask me later. Bye.